spoons are to carving as like what a chair is to furniture making. Hi, I'm James. I make hand-carved wooden spoons using carving knives, and I started a couple of years ago and I've made close to 100. So just before COVID was a thing, I was just looking online as you do, and I came across just some Instagram artists, and one of them for some reason just started spoon carving, and I thought that's something I could do probably, and it took off from there. So this is kind of where I have started from for a lot of spoons. The first step that I really do is I take the axe and just cleave it right in half. Then I would process it down into what's called a billet. So basically every spoon will have an angle from like the tip of the bowl to like the back of the spoon, like a tick. You want to axe that in early on so that you can establish kind of like that dimension of your spoon before you even get anything else out of the way. And then you would draw the design on like I've done on this one. Then you go to the straight knife. The guiding principles behind like what makes a spoon are so basic, but within that realm is like such a wide variety that you can make. But essentially like a spoon is a spoon, like as long as it performs its job, then that's it. So at this point, I have finished the axe work. So I've gone as far as I'm comfortable with to go with the axe before I start getting too close to the line I've drawn on. So I want to just take to it with the straight knife, and I'm going to go all the way around the plan view, I think it's called, like just the side, so I can come close to how it's going to look from the top, and then I'll focus on the next section. So as you sort of learn and start off carving, there's like a few basic like grips, they're called, like knife grips. And the one I'm using here is just like the chest pull or chest grip. So you're bracing the spoon against your chest so that the knife has something to push against. Another one is just like the thumb push. This is probably a pretty common one that people have seen whittlers use for a long time, and you just kind of taking the knife in one hand, bracing it against your thumb and just kind of using it to push. So I'm just kind of trying to creep up on the edge there. This is called the chest lever grip. So what you do is like kind of chicken wing, you get your elbows in tight and then you just kind of open up your chest. And as you do, you get these like nice big shavings. You get underneath the axe marks. When you get into this rhythm, that's when, if you know, you know, because it's such a nice feeling. And when you see the curls fall to the floor, it's kind of really nice. And it's kind of what I'm chasing. I don't really know exactly what the finished spoon looks like at this point, but I know that I've got a lot of work to do before I'm there. It is a totally random thing to just start doing out of nowhere. I get that, but if you do it, you understand, and it's so accessible. So if you want to get into spoon carving, there really isn't a lot that you need. This is just a small hatchet that I got back when I first started, and it's the only one I've ever needed so far. The axe work is like a big part of the spoon making as well, because you are essentially trying to get to the finished form, as close to the finished form as you can by just using an axe. The other important tools are a straight blade or a Sloyd knife. It's got a really tapered tip so that you can get into the difficult spots in a spoon, and these are razor sharp. You can shave with them. And then a spoon knife or a hook knife, which is a curved blade, so you can actually curve out the bowl of the spoon. At some point, you have to be comfortable with the level of imperfection in something. It also forces you to slow down, because if you go too quickly, you could really hurt yourself. Like the knives you use are really sharp, and so it forces you to slow down, and you have to like commit to the process. You can't skip anything. You have to like go through the motions, and it can be really therapeutic to go through that. But then giving them to other people is just special, because I don't know, people who love you would love to receive something you've made generally, but if it's going to be something they're going to use, it's even better.